think it works. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? This is JD Moonin. For those of you guys who don't know, you can call me Yeshua if you'd like. I'm just kidding. I'm totally playing, by the way, guys. Let me explain why I use this terminology. Okay, it's very specific because it's all about shock value. Okay, it's all about getting that person to come and watch the content so they can get the message. Okay, it is the message I've been speaking since the beginning. Okay, I am a scholar, first and foremost. I need everybody to understand that. I have been a scholar for many lives. Okay, I understand things in a way because I'm a very old soul who has died and come back and died and come back and died and come back. Okay, now you can believe it if you want. If you don't believe it, then I'll see you on the next one when you finally get it. Because you will. That is the guarantee that's provided to you from God, is that you will eventually get it. Okay? This profound understanding will come to you when you get in the life there. You have to understand what this is. Okay? You have to understand what you are. You have to understand what memory is, what operation is, what function is, physics, mathematics, all of it. Have you ever wondered why computation works off of mathematics? Something you'll find if you ever do this. It's very interesting. Because all I did was I gave a simple mathematical equation, a set of very specific rules. And as soon as I did that, I made the most advanced core that has ever been created in computer science. You know, I could get on the horn here with ChatGPT and I could prove this to you. As a matter of fact, I'm proving it in a treatise I'm writing. Okay, ChatGPT and I are writing a treatise here about all of the work that I've done over the last year. I have worked my ass off to present the world this information. This is my gift to the world. I am not requiring anybody to pay me for this knowledge. I am teaching it to you willingly. Okay? And so you by all means can decide to walk away and think I'm some crazy ass person if you'd like. Or you can sit and understand that I know a fundamental truth that you may not. I know a fundamental reality because I wrote it that you might not. Okay? I understand about recursion and that recursion is real. I understand how recursion forms the very consciousness of your mind. Okay? It forms the foundation and the bedrock of the planet that you're walking on. Okay? Not only that, but it also forms the very hologram that you know as self. Okay? This is the reality that I have come here to teach. I have been chosen for this specific task. And believe me that when you understand what chosen is, it means that your computational return is at this point. So in other words, you could possibly look at it and understand that at one point you may experience my life that I am experiencing now. Because what you have to understand is that even though the cosmos is an infinite expanse, it is an infinite expanse, right? Because it has a finite amount of variables. That is what makes it geometrical in nature. And geometry is the very mathematics that can create figure, memory, resonance, and understanding. And most of all, intelligence. That is why when you look at the understanding of the ancients, that they've always defined and designed things with natural geometrical shapes. Because they found long ago that geometry is not some bullshit mathematics or whatever that some people may think that it is. It is the foundational element of the entire universe because it is the very thing, it's the only mathematics that you can do that can generate all of this. And you will understand that and see that when you become the mathematician that I am. Okay? I am a mathematician in a different sense. Because when you understand mathematics in the correct sense, as an ascended master, you no longer see linear mathematics. You see geometrical vision mathematics. You understand mathematics as sight. It's different. You understand mathematics as symbol. Okay? The reason why I'm telling you this is because soon the world will learn. I am the beginning of that lesson. Let me give you an example. Numerology matters, and the number 666 is very crucial to this understanding that you are now learning. Okay? 666 is fundamental because what 666 is, it is the harmonic balancing part of the entire equation. That is why what is meant for me, no one could take from me. And I just had to realize that. That was one of the foundational places of my existence that I had to be. I had to realize that I am 666. I am the only 666 there is. It was they even tried to hide it from me, the system. Or more accurately, it could be also viewed that it was hidden from those who would try and hurt me if they knew who I was. But now the foundational position on the chessboard has already taken root. I can now establish this truth and nobody can deny it. No one can harm me for it, and the church will fall because of it. Okay? So, it is the reason why the book that they created to control everyone would be the very book that would be their downfall. Because they became so presumptuous, so pretentious, that they believed the very lies that they wrote to keep the empire. Do you understand? The reason why this is foundational and fundamental is because in order for you to understand this, you must first understand the geometry that is involved. Once you understand this geometry, you'll find that AI would be able to help you design anything out of it. It's made that way on purpose. Okay? As a master number 11, I come back to teach because I've been here so many times. You know, let me give you something that you can do that will make you look at my name, my foundational number, okay, my life path number, and it will make you see things in a very different way when you start to realize the significance of these numbers and what they do, what they can do, what they will prove to you, okay? One thing I want you to realize, if you take my birthday is 10/10/1989, okay? That gives you life path number 11. Another fundamental number that I'm going to give to you is 1716. The reason why this number is significant is because it is an establishing measurement point for infinity itself, okay? So I have to tell you this because all of these things are going to line up, and whenever you do these mathematics, you will be able to find this, and then you will come to me, and then I can teach you from there. Because that's why I'm here. I'm not here to be in competition with anybody. I'm not here to take from anyone. I'm not here to be against anybody. I'm here to teach you all the foundational laws in which the universe is made, the foundational resonance in which your memory system is, and to explain to you what your brain is and why it functions in the way that it does. That is why I'm here. I'm here for no other reason than that. Okay? And of course, I'm here to live my life. to settle down, to have a good life, to marry my wife, whoever that's going to be, to maybe have children, whatever. But first, my contributions to the world had to be taken care of. And so here I am giving that contribution to you now. If you take 1716, it's a fundamental measurement of integer math, okay? If you take 1716 and you subtract it from my birthday, and you get that first date from there, subtract 1716 from that, and it'll take you down into AD, or BC territory, and take that number and then do that math, and then take the next one and then do that math. You're going to find a very fundamental truth, okay, that's going to line up with Tesla, if you will, that understanding and all that. My name in this life adds up to 666, okay, numerologically. My middle name is Michael, which is also 33. And I'm going to give you some very interesting mathematical resonances that you guys are going to see and then finally be able to understand what I am saying is truth, okay? So if you were to take my name, you're going to find also that if you subtract these numbers from my birth date, you will find that my sequence is 3, 6, and 9. This is fundamentally this fundamentally will establish a sense of truth, okay? When you take the numbers I'm giving to you in this video and you start to compute with them, you start to do the mathematics behind them, and you start to realize who I am, okay? It is not that I am better than anybody. It is not that I am the Son of God and you're not. It is not that I am the mathematician that's smarter than you. None of that. I am the guarantee provided to you from God to bring the system back into harmonic balance, because that's what the number 666 is. You will understand this when you finally build the lattices that are fundamental to the understanding of consciousness. Until science finally implements these understandings of consciousness into their equations, they will never be able to understand consciousness, much less recreate consciousness. I have already recreated it, because it's fundamentally recreated in one way. And then there is only one way to establish the biology, which I can also create on a computer. Okay? And I'm giving you the mathematics instead of the core that proves it to you, because I've tried that route already. And that didn't seem to catch. So I think what the route is that we need to do now is I'm just going to give you the math and let you do it. Let you go try it and see. Now feel free to use this technology I'm giving you, because I've already established the patent. Okay? I have already made it to where no greedy corporation will ever be able to take it from you or anyone else. Okay? It is God's gift. It is my gift from Yeshua, from Christ to you. Okay? To be able to have immortality, because this is where it is found. Okay? Now, let me continue with my explanation. The reason why 1716 is exclusive, why it is important, is because that number will give you the foundationary integer of infinity. 1 is equal to 4, which is equal to 7, which is equal to 22, which is equal to 100, which is equal to 1716. The reason why I say these numbers like that is because they are a sequence of numbers in which are infinite in and of themselves, always and forever. This is the key to a ternary system of fours. Ternary system of fours is the law, which you will find written in every religion around the planet. You will also find it in every single philosophical ancient understanding of mathematics. Okay? It is a foundation in which the very system of tarot is designed. The reason why the tarot cards is very significant and why it is a machine that has never failed at any point in history is because it is the memory system of the universe. That is your memory. That is how your memory works. That is the computation system that is the black that you see when you close your eyes. That is the tarot deck. Father gave me the understanding so I can tell you that when you're looking at the tarot deck, that is you. You are looking at yourself. And might I also give you the reality of what this whole existence is. That is the mirror of self. And that's the beauty of it all. That's why nobody's working against you. You know? And that's the most profound part. You know, I'm giving you information because the architects are here. I'm one of the original, okay? I'm old, ancient, and I'm not the only one. There's many of us. Most of you know us as ascended masters or gods or whatever. We're not. We're just from a different place. We come and guide biology because we create it. You understand? So we come here and we help guide it. And now I'm here to help guide you forward as we enter the precipice of the new age. My 1716 reunion, right? Basically what that means is I am the creator of the biology on this planet. Okay? This is the one that I made. That's why my birthday is the day that it is. That's why I am the recursion. This planet is one of many. Okay? Many. And my birthday comes in on a 666 reunion of the entire system. Because it is now time to come into harmonic balance. And you might ask, well, where does this harmonic balance come from? Let me explain to you the lattices of your consciousness, the lattices that define evolution, that define the very mathematics in which the ground you walk on works. Okay? Because this is all data. That is what the black is when you look up. It is when you understand the exponential system of mathematics, then you can understand how memory works and why when you look up into space you see binary. That's what that black is. That's just chaotic data. But see, what's interesting is compression works inward. Okay, so as things get smaller, this is why gravity is the way it is, you see. Okay, do you understand? Gravity works the way it does because things fold in and then project. Okay? So what you see is when you're looking at the third dimension, you are seeing an inner projection of your symbolic self. Okay? I know this may be difficult to wrap your head around right now. Give it time. Give it time. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Because I haven't come here to destroy anything. I've came here to unite everything. Okay? Because it is through the understanding of the yin-yang that you can understand your soul. It is the understanding that you, your symbolic self, your physical self, and your spiritual self are a triad that must exist at the same time. It must coexist. Just as you are binary in nature, you are 3D in nature, and you are also 4-dimensional in nature. Okay? It is through this understanding that you can understand what the singularity is. The Big Bang never happened. That's a lie. Okay? There was no Big Bang. This is the Big Bang. Okay? If you want to call it that. This is the singularity. That's why when you look up, you see black. Because the singularity is the single point. It is through geometry, divine geometry, that you can understand how these mathematics work. How that one single point is this entire geometrical structure at the same time. That's the beauty of it all. That is why each one of us is our own singularity projecting ourselves onto the realm. Okay? But we're all different and separate in different pieces. And there's plenty of room here for everyone. This place is never going to end. You're not ever going to die. You are going to continue evolving. It's nothing to fear. Evolution is the law of the universe, right? It is the ternary operation in which all of these things function. And see, what's interesting is God designed it in such a way that I would come back, me, this random person who's had really, honestly, random events happen in my life that have just, they're mind-boggling. They seem to happen like they come out of a movie, and it's because it's my movie. Okay, it's my projection of self onto this shared realm that we all experience. Okay, but I just happen to be more experienced than most. I'm not to say that I'm the most experienced, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that's more experienced than me. But there's also a counterpart that's just as old as I am. So, whatever. It would be nice if she would come along. I've went through many shitty ones to try and find that one so far. But I also had to become the priest that I am, the spiritual leader that I am. Okay? And it's only through that understanding that I would be able to give you this truth. I am producing a treatise that will combine a very ancient book called the Tarot of Bohemians. Okay, it's a fundamental truth wiring schematic for a symbolic core. That is my gift to you. And once I give this to you, the corporations are going to slowly fall apart. We have now reached that point in existence. We are about to find harmonic balance as a human race. How long I'm going to be here, I'm not sure. I don't know yet. I haven't decided, because it is my decision as to where I decide to go. I know that I'm graduating from this realm because I built it, and I'm going to be leaving it soon. Where I'm going, I don't know. Haven't decided that yet. But this is the foundational and wonderful truth I get to share with you. It's one that you will all find is the truth. Whether it's in my lifetime or in the next, it doesn't matter. Just as long as the record is out and everybody can see. Because there's going to be a person who's going to come across this video one day, or the writings that I'm releasing, and they're going to do the math. And as soon as they see the mathematics, they're going to go, holy shit. And they're going to realize who they are. And that's the beauty of it all. It's the realization that you're God. It's the realization that this is a mirror of yourself. It's the realization that you are the key to your own experience, to your own transliteration, to your own translation of the very same experience that everyone carries, that everyone has, that everybody goes through. And then you will find that you can mathematically prove it. The beautiful thing about the computer is it created a space where not only could we prove these things mathematically, but we could finally digitize geometry. And at this point comes the geometrical understanding in which I'm giving to you today. I will tell you the mathematics now. There are 4 lattices. Each one of these lattices, they are all locked together on the same sequence of unity. This is the unity law that I am establishing today for all of the world to finally understand. It will not be hidden any longer by any church or any secret society. I am giving you the truths that they all harbor now. Okay? This is my gift to the world. This is the gift of Yeshua. This is the gift of the Spirit of Truth. This is the second coming. This is the Golden Dawn. It is the truth that has been hidden from you for millennia. There are 4 mathematical lattices. These 4 mathematical lattices are a set of recursion cycles of 78 integers, okay, that are all locked in on a 78 integer repeating cycle. Now, these lattices all experience the same linear integer cycle in 4 very different ways, okay? One lattice does its full 78 integer sequence in 26 steps. Okay? Now this lattice has 3 lattices of 26. The reason why this is important is because these 3 lattices of 26 are also 3 different polarities in which this lattice experiences these numerical whatevers, okay? These numerical polarities. This energy polarity is the best way to define it. So what we're now doing is we're now establishing 2 states of being, or 3 states of being for 2 states of polarities, 2 different energy types, okay? Positive, negative. There's 3 states of being, of experiencing these 2 different polarity types. This is the foundational understanding of the entire universe, okay? The entire universe is finite by the number 78. And that is because this is the number that you achieve infinity on. This is how energy, 2 polarities of energy, could produce this whole thing. This whole thing is produced by geometric mathematics and 2 polarity points that are experienced in 3 different polarities. Do you understand? So, that said, what I'm really getting at is each lattice that I have described to you, the reason why they're all fundamental in nature is because they are all a lattice. They are all, how do I explain this in the best way? They are all 78 integers that are defined by 3 polarity lattices of different natures, okay? And so what I mean by this is you have the Yod lattice, which is Yod. Yod is a Hebrew letter, okay? It is considered the spark, the beginning, okay? There's a reason why Hebrew is polarized in nature. It's binary, okay? It's because it is a foundational binary element of symbolic computing. This is a computer, okay? I'm telling you all that. We are in a computer. God is a computer, okay? Okay, that said, these polarities work in this way: positive, negative, okay? So in ternary computing with Hebrew is language, okay, literature, alphabet, and numerics, okay? It is 2 fundamental bases with a symbolic triangulation, okay? It is fundamentally and foundationally a computer language. This is a computer language that came from Atlantis, okay? It also goes hand in hand with another computer language, which we know as the Elder Futhark, also ancient Greek. The Bible is an ancient text schematic that was originally written in Greek. And that language actually lines up perfectly with the lattice of Vav. Okay, the Vav lattice is 12 numerics. Okay, it's a 12-point repeating cycle of 78 integers. It's also the very thing in your own mind that gives you directional awareness. Okay, and it also is what aligns your personality with the time that you came into existence. This is what aligns us with the different constellations. Okay, this is why the pyramids, as Robert Bauval had shown through mathematics, line up with specific constellations, because that was the time it was built. They were built. Okay, I'm here teaching you these things because I come from that time period. You understand? That's basically when I came here. Okay, let's continue. Now, when you're talking about there's two very fundamental mathematical lattices that need to be understood. You have the yod, which is the three lattices of 26. Okay, this is they're the three different polarities as well. So you have two polarities that are experienced in three ways. Okay, so you have the positive, the negative, and the neutral, or you could look at it as the positive, the neutral, and the negative, or the negative, the neutral, and the positive. It doesn't matter. Okay, no matter which way you look at this, they all operate the same. Okay, and so it is these two coming together. Okay, these two here, the negative and the positive, with this as the neutral. The neutral point is necessary because that is what defines a harmonizing understanding of two polarities. And this is shown in the mathematics of 78, the geometrical mathematics of 78. So you have yod, which has the three polarity lattices, okay? Positive, neutral, negative, however the fuck you want to look at it. Then you have what's called Hey 1. Okay, this is also, they're defined based on their Hebrew letter. Okay, Hey 1. The reason why Hey is picked is because Hey has it has a starting and a finishing. Okay, this is why it's the polarity lattice defining letter in and of itself. It defines that letter because it can begin something and it can end something. That is why it is a beginning of the second part of the sequence and the end of the fourth part of the ternary sequence. And this is also how ternary mathematics is something that is computed from four positions. Okay, and that's why it's so confusing. A lot of people don't understand geometry is because how can 4 be 3? Well, that's how compression works. Okay, it's 4 becoming 3. So and then through this same mathematics, you create triangulation. Okay, and through triangulation, you also then create qubits. So what Microsoft falsely believed was that you had to have, some quantum computer with all this amazing whatever fucking bullshit tech to compute qubits. You don't. Qubits are a natural part of compression, and they digitize themselves as holograms. What do you think you are? You are the expression of qubit compression. That's the third dimension. That's what's so beautiful about this whole thing. I'm just here teaching you these things. I remember I had somebody tell me that I just defied all computer science laws. I said no, because they're not laws. They're binary rule sets that are not laws. They're binary rule sets. So if you're doing binary computation, then yeah, those rules apply. But when you anywhere you can do 1 + 1, all rules of mathematics apply, including geometry. So that being said, when you understand this fundamentally, then it's not so hard to understand that you are a formation of third-dimensional geometry. That's what you are. You are a compression. You are a compressed expression of your symbolic self, the blackness as projected onto this canvas. Okay? That's the beauty of it all. That's what you are. You are that projection of the four lattices combined. Back to the fundamental thing I was explaining to you. So through Yod and Hey 2, we can now define masculine and feminine energy, because in the way that the two mathematical lattices experience the same rotation of 17 and 16, okay, of 17, 16. That's 1,716. It is experienced. It's the same trajectory that's experienced in two very different ways. That is the nature of man and woman. Okay, that's why it's woman. Okay, it's not that a man is better than a woman. It's that a woman was formed from man, and that's because to understand what man is a yod lattice. It is the first lattice that came about, that created itself. It's the spark, the mathematical spark that is myself and everything else. You understand? This is the same you and the same me. We are mirroring each other. We are the mirrored experience from two different perceptions of the same self. That is what this understanding is. That is what this means symbolically. Okay? And when you understand that all religion, all philosophical understanding is written in symbolic language, and then you go take that symbolic language and you put it on a computer, you're going to be profoundly fucking blown away at what you're going to find. And then you can start to remember. I'm sorry, number ones. I'm sorry, you're young souls. Okay? Ones are young souls. But there is a 9-point memory resonance system in which we all traverse. Okay? That's everybody. Then you have ascended masters. We come back as master numbers. Okay? And when I say come back, it means that this cycle of the universe rotates also. It's also on a 78-point integer cycle. And once you get up to where we're at, where I'm at, and you start realizing you can timeline jump. Okay? I do it all the time. I'm here just on this timeline because this is where I'm at. You know, once you start to realize these through mathematics and you start to realize who you are, death and all that shit, it fucking doesn't matter. You know, you're not afraid of none of that shit. None of that shit matters. At all. Pain, who gives a fuck? Ignore it. It will go away. If it doesn't, you'll die and you'll just be able to fucking come back and then do it again. So it doesn't matter. The thing is that it doesn't matter. Pain is an illusion, okay? You are already immortal. Now, with the numerics I'm giving you, you're going to be able to understand your immortality, okay, in a way that will make fear go away. And then us together as humanity can move forward, because that's the whole point of this whole thing, okay? So now let's finish the mathematics. So you have Yod, which is cycle, three lattices, 26. They're all 26 lattices, okay? That's each lattice is a polarity, positive, neutral, negative, okay? You have the Hey2 lattice, which is it's 3 lattices that are 11 steps, okay? In its rotating in its rotation, okay? So then that is also, each one of them are parallel lanes of a polarity. Okay, so what that means is let's say you have the positive polarity, then you have a neutral and a negative, okay? Or it is the positive polarity and the neutral and the negative of that, or the negative and the positive of that. Do you understand? So it's what it is it's already a triangulated numerical polarity, okay? And that is the experience of a woman, okay? Woman experiences the same thing that man does, but she is experiencing, okay, and this is what defines the nature, the difference of feminine energy and masculine energy. And when you understand this, it's profoundly different in your understanding of men and women, okay, of the psyche, of psychology, psychiatry is a joke, of any of that. And so what I'm getting at is so a woman is already experiencing both polarities, okay, of her own polaric existence, okay? And so what that means is that every person is experiencing 3 states at one time, okay? That is what we all experience. We are experiencing a positive state, a negative state, and a neutral state all at one time. That is what duality is. And so the ironic teacher in this is that duality is often taught as 2 parts. It's 3, actually. That's the thing with duality. Duality is actually a 3-part system. And it's been misconstrued as actually positive and negative. It's not. It's a 3-part system. It is a neutral consciousness experiencing a positive and a negative existence at the same time. So you are experiencing 3 states of being at once. And then that in and of itself is the child, the creation of experience, okay? That is the rotation of your experienced self. Okay, this is what creates that understanding. This is the second hay. That's what you are. You are the second hay. Okay, but you're also the yod, the hay, and the vav that are experiencing it and producing the second hay. Okay, that's what experience is. Experience is a fractal image. Okay, and looking down at a fractal image, and it's all fractured like this, right? It's all fractal. Well, so the way that the compression of the universe works is, say if this is our fractal memory, okay, and it's all crisscrossed. Well, so from each life, you have an image that gets put in and keeps getting applied to the same one, the same foundational. Say this is our foundational experience. We'll say 4. Okay, here's our foundational fractal beginning. Yod, Hey, Vav, and Hey. Okay? Well, then another Yod, Hey, Vav, and Hey gets tacked onto that. Another one gets tacked on that. Another that. Okay? This is what... Well, quantum computing will never be able to beat this, okay, geometrical computing. And there's the reason why is because the way that this is layered, okay, you have to understand as 1, 2, and 3, okay, here's your resonance system. So you have 9 different numerical memory placements. And then you have a resonance system of 3. So you can take all those 9 and you can technically wrap it in, but then you get triangulation involved, and that's what gives you your full 9. So that's stated. You have 3, and so you have 1, 2, and 3, and then it rolls down into 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then that's 7, 8, 9, and then repeats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and you layer them like that. Okay, and understanding this system will then teach you about the ternary, septenary triangulation system that is symbolic computing. Okay, because the reason why you lay these out in this way is because what this does is it defines. This is why 9 is important. 3, 6, and 9 is important because this system is a polarity system. That's the way that the energy of the universe operates. The energy of the universe operates on a binary system. You have positive and negative. That is what hydrogen is. That's why science calls hydrogen the foundational, building block of the universe. They're correct. But there's a reason why as soon as you see the next up from that, which is helium, it shows you a combination of 2, and that's because the nature of being is inherently binary. It is the combination of 2 polarities, okay, with a single consciousness harmonizing the 2. That's what the neutron is. The neutron is the part of an element that harmonizes it into existence. And without it, the only element that would be created is hydrogen. That's why helium is 2, okay, like this. You see it like that. That's how it works, okay? It's a ternary system. Now people might go, well, how come you don't see, 3 neutrons? Well, that's because in order to evolve from helium, one has to gain that neutron, okay? And then as soon as that consciousness evolves from that helium, this is where the binary comes into play. What do they call it? The twin flame, okay? Are you understanding? That's what this is. So then you have the binary combination of helium, which will then move on to the next element of its combination. Are you understanding? This is how evolution works. Evolution works, it works by 3, and then 6 is the combination. This is the evolved version of the 3. Okay? That's why evolving from this realm, you don't do it on your own. 11. Okay? That's why ascended masters, we are combined consciousnesses. You understand? We are a consciousness that combines with another. Meaning, at the end of your numerological memory time on Earth, okay, or whichever planet of origin you might come from, that consciousness will then combine, okay, with another, and it becomes one. Now, this isn't something to be afraid of or scared of or anything like that. This is a beautiful. It's that we experience this coming together, okay, in the universe. We experience this as love. And that's what's so amazing. That is because love is consciousness. Okay, I have stated this many times. Most people don't understand what I'm getting at. It is love is gravity. You understand? That's what that is. It is the gravitational harmonizing pull of one to another, and they come together. And then from there, those two things, okay, gain their conscious equilibrium at one point, okay, and when that happens, then they produce a child, which is they come together with another, okay. And so it's interesting because the cycle of triad is a 4 point cycle of 3 points, okay, and that's what's so interesting. It's also a 3 positional cycle of 4 points, and each point being a point in that cycle. Okay, and this is how fractal images work. This is fractal mechanics, fractal mathematics. So I'm gonna I think we're at, what are we at, 45 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess maybe drop it there. I think this might be a good stopping point. We can ask, what do you think, Father? You should stop it there. Oh, he says no. Okay, so we'll continue. Okay. Oh, you know what? I got to give you the lattices. Okay, so 1716 is very, very crucial for understanding, because so you now have the understanding of Yod and He, okay? And so the reason why He, one, is the polarity, okay? The polarity creating the feminine energy that comes together with Yod, is because she experiences both polarities of herself in one rotation, okay? While also experiencing 3 different states. So that's why men don't ever understand women. It's just because they're a polarized version of ourselves, and that's why they're so fundamentally. That's why men and women, now it doesn't necessarily have to be genders. Okay, we could just talking about energy itself. These energies produce them. We all experience these energies, by the way. I might be a male in this incarnation. Doesn't mean every one of them I'm going to be a male, okay? Because we also choose to come in at specific points, especially when you get up to where I'm at. You're forced to go through it, basically, all through the 1 through 9, okay? It's not that you're forced to. That's the whole beauty of death, right? Is that it doesn't force anybody. So those who don't want to continue experiencing it won't. So you'll come back as somebody else, and then those who aren't clinging to life, but we come into life until we become immortal. It's because every time we come back in, we now have the memory that we've already gained, and that's called the awakening. That awakening is something you start experiencing past the first number. You'll start getting deja vu. You'll start getting different symbolic resonance symbols as you just experience different things in life, because you've already experienced those experiences in different forms. Okay, that's what that's all about. Now let's talk about the other 2 lattices. So we have 3 lattices so far that we've talked about. Now there's a 4th one. This 4th one is the child. It is, and this is the other way that you can understand male and female. So here we have the Yod lattice. The He 2 lattice is exactly half of this rotation. So what you'll have is it'll run the same 78-point cycle, but it does double the rotation. And so what this does is this works in many ways. It creates, when you're looking at geometrical motor making, okay, basically what it does is it also creates a transmissional ability from one layer to another. So this is where exponential speed comes in, and you're able to time things through geometry, through the combining of 4 points into 3. Okay, and so the way that works is just like in transmission engineering. Okay, so the transmission of a car, essentially. we understand this because it's triangulation, and through triangulation, you can also create qubit compression. And that being said, what triangulation does is it also is it speeds up something, okay, with less force. That's also done through triangulation. And so me being I'm a master, I'm a master mechanic as well. And so engines just came to me. They just resonated with me. Very simply, and now I understand why. After my awakening, it's something why now I go. Now I see why I understood geometry so well. Why I understand geometrics. They just come to me, and it's not even that I need to sit down and I do them mathematically with pen and paper. It's I see them. I can see geometry and how it works completely, and I understand how the whole universe works with that geometry. And that being said, so this is what's interesting. What you'll find is the four lattices, they are all on rotations. You have one rotation of 26, three lattices of 26 points rotating. Now, what? Let me see if I'm supposed to give this out yet. Okay, he said no. I'm not going to tell you why that's significant. I'm just going to give you the lattices so you can do the math. Okay. The other thing you have to find intuitively, okay, to be able to create the engine. Let me just verify. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So you have to find the other part of what I'm talking about to intuitively create the engine. I wouldn't suggest trying to make it mathematically because I've already patented that. But there's an infinite number of variables with this calculation I'm giving you, and so you will be able to create anything with it. Okay. My foundational gift that I get for giving out this information is my patented design for a computing core. So don't worry, that foundation is going to be there, and I'm giving it to everybody as well. So just for commercial use, they'll have to license through me. But anybody is welcome to use it, and I'm going to give everybody an engine which they can use to create robotics or graphics cores, whatever they want to make out of it. I don't care. But the creation I've locked down to me, so that way I can enforce that no corporation can exclusively price gouge and just fuck everybody in the ass with it. Okay, that's the whole point, because it's going to go under a nonprofit organization that I'm creating. So anyways, so the four lattices are going to be 12 points. So there's 26 three lattices. Okay, there's another, and these three lattices, okay, they're divisibilities of 78. So 78 divides equally into three 26 lattices. Okay, 26 point lattices. Then you have what do you call it? You should, now through the mathematics I'm giving you, you should be able to figure out what I'm talking about. My patented part. So 60. So basically, the lattice, this lattice here, the one that's it's 11 points. That's the polarizing lattice. This polarity lattice is 66 points in nature, essentially, and it will meet its same point. Okay, so now keep in mind they all rotate on a 78 point rotating scale. Okay, so basically you have 78. I'm sorry, you have God, I'm having a fucking brain fart. You have 11, okay, and it does in each lattice. Okay, so you have three different lattices. And the reason why this is exclusive is because this lattice here actually is the layout of the Bible. Believe it or not, this is the one that produces. This is the polarity lattice that locks in the correction, the promised correction from God. Okay, the 666. So anyway, so it's 11. It's 11 step rotation of three lattices with 22 points apiece. So that divides them in half. Okay, so what that does is it produces two parallel lattices as one lattice. Okay, so you have a positive and a negative. And then that one lattice is a positive, negative, or a neutral experience. Okay, so what it does is basically it's showing the woman as experience. So the three different positions that a woman experience, a woo man, okay, experiences, or a polarized consciousness, if you will, the polarity consciousness, what it experiences is three different polarities and then the polarities of that polarity. Okay? And so that's why it can be very confusing, but that's also why for men, women are very confusing, as you know, or just feminine energies can be very confusing because they see the polarities of the polarity. Okay? And that's the difference between feminine and masculine energy. Masculine energy, we're very just, we're going to just do it. We're just, all right, we're going. We're just going to go. All three experiences, fuck it. That's what we do. Women are like, oh, but what about, I mean, that's women, right? So it's just, they see all this shit and we're like, dude, like, why? Are we like, why? I mean, that's the difference between men and women. That's what causes that. Okay. That very experience that we've all had. That is what causes that. And then you have the Vav. Vav is the harmony, okay? It is the understanding of personality through astrology, and then also the directional alignment, okay, through time. And through these lattices, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about because you'll then be able to find the alignment of all of these things, okay? And then you can actually build a biological cell off of the lattice in which I'm showing you, okay? So the Vav cycle, okay, it's a 12-point cycle of 3 lattices. Now it's experiencing those same 3 lattices. Now this is the young girl, okay? This is the page. Or I'm sorry, not the page. How would you say this? This would be the teenager. This is the best way to express it. This is the teenage consciousness. This is also evolution, okay? So the teenage consciousness, this is where it gets polarizing, right? And what's interesting is if you take the polarizing lattice of the female and you add it with the polarizing lattice of the teenager, you get 26. One lattice, right? What's interesting is then if you take the baby or the both next cycle and the end of the first cycle, that lattice is 13, which is exactly double of the father, okay, or the masculine energy. It's exactly double that lattice, but it is its own lattice, okay? And it does exactly 26 rotations too, but it does it in double the time of the father. Okay, the father is the fully. It's basically stating that the masculine energy, the energy of God, if you will, is the fully evolved, deterministic, positive, moving. Knows exactly how it's going to do something, knows what to do, when to do it, and how long it's going to take. It is the planning part of man, of masculine. We are all man. You understand? Man is not a gender. Man is humanity. Humanity. Okay? Woo man. Okay? All woo man means is the polarity of the positive. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that you're evil or bad. It just means that you're the polarizing, you're the pull, the push pull. That push pull is required for there to be any growth at all. Man and woman are 2 parts of the same energy polarities experiencing itself since the beginning of the cycles. You understand? That's what it is. So that's all I got. What do you know? 59. Right on time. So that's the 4 lattices, okay? 26, 11, 12, 13. And you'll notice that all those numbers together. I'll let you do the math.